Yesterday I visited every station on the Harrogate line which runs between Leeds and York, although I didn't actually visit York because I'm saving it for today. I've got the whole afternoon to explore the medieval city, but because it's me, I'm just going to squeeze in a few extra stations first on the direct line to York rather than the long way round via Harrogate that I did yesterday. But first, I just want to have a quick look around Leeds because I didn't get the opportunity to do so last night because it was quite late. I wanted to come up to the point where the Leeds and Liverpool Canal is branching off of the River Aire here. I'm sure I'll come back to Leeds for another trip because there's just so many stations and lines, and on this map of the canal you can see a couple which I visited yesterday, Burley Park and Headingley. I went to visit Kirkstall Abbey as well, but it'd be great to walk all the way along the canal to maybe Kirkstall Forge station at some point. That's definitely a future idea. I also wanted to discover an entrance to Leeds station I didn't use yesterday, which is somewhere in there where the River Aire is heading underground. So it's here at Granary Wharf where you can see the river flowing under the station, and there is an entrance here. This might be one of the coolest entrances to any station I've been to. I don't know if I've seen a station with such short and also long trains that a platform has to be split into 4. I've never seen an 11D before. So I'll speed run through these stations quite quickly. I was meant to have about 22 minutes here at Crossgates, but that's now reduced to only about 6 because that train was delayed. So it looks as if some recent work has taken place here at Crossgates. That looks like a new road bridge, and perhaps they're electrifying this line because they've put in the poles, but there's just no wires yet. So with the 4 stations I'm doing, they all get an hourly service to both Hull and York, except here at Garforth, which does get some more intermediate services. And they are split, so basically you would have a 20-minute wait and a 40-minute wait. So I had a 20-minute wait at Crossgates, and I would have a 40-minute one here, except East Garforth is only about a 20-minute walk away. So let's do that instead. Oh, well. East Garforth station just appeared out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to see it just here, there's no signs for it. So this is a relatively new station in the scheme of things. It opened in 1987, I guess just to provide a better service for this side of Garforth, because it was feeling a bit cut off with the station a 20-minute walk away. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a Class 155 before. They look exactly like a 153 though. There is honestly not that much else to say about this station. Next one. And there goes the whole train, which means the next one will take me directly to York now that I have completed all 4 stations. So we have a staggered platform here at Micklefield, and just like last time where I was meant to have about 22 minutes or so, I now only have 10. Oh wait, my York train is delayed by 6. Okay, I have 16 minutes. Well, that's the black line between Leeds and York complete, and these 4 as well. I did try and squeeze in Church Fenton and Ulesgelf, but they get more of a limited service. I guess that'll have to be for another time when I just do literally any other station in this area. So much of this railway I think existed in 1834, but the connection through to Church Fenton on the left and then eventually York came about only in 1869. Well, there we go. I have finally made it to York. I'm surprised it's taken so long to tick off this station, and it is regarded as being one of the finest in the country, and I think it's hard to disagree. There's a completely disused platform here at York. Now that is one impressive railway clock, and it's right beside a blue Costa, which is unusual. I was going to say I don't think I've ever come across one of these before, but actually I saw one on the way up here at Newark Northgate station. I was struggling to find this for a moment, which is funny because it's literally right by where I exited the train, but this is Zero Post, where historically all of them separate railway companies were measured to this point here at York Station. You know, I'm surprised a station the size of York, and it was once the biggest station in the world, there are no ticket barriers. But before we start our tour of York, there's something I want to go and visit first. As soon as you walk in, you are just bombarded by some really glamorous old trains, such as this Gladstone steam engine here. But of course, I'm quite quickly getting distracted by the old station signs. Sunningdale, Henley-on-Thames, Sudbury, Leighton Midland Road and Pear Tree. I've done quite a few of them stations actually. All of the trains are presented quite nicely, and there's something to be said about the gap between the train and the platform is better than it is in some cases on the network today. Got a bit of history from home here really. This was initially situated on Gravesend Pier, and then what did it say? It moved to Tilbury and then Barking. Yeah, it was withdrawn from use in 1961. We've got a classic Pullman carriage here in the British Rail blue. Just got more comfortable seats than we do nowadays as well. I'm definitely going to end up getting very distracted and showing you so much about the National Railway Museum, like this post office train car here, and not actual York itself. So there are two halls here for the museum. There's the Station Hall and the Great Hall, where I now find myself, and this is the main one. This is where you'll find all the historic locomotives. Well, this is it. This is what many define as the crown jewel of the National Railway Museum, the Mallard, which continues to hold the record for the fastest steam locomotive. In 1938 it reached 126 miles per hour. Surprisingly, you can actually find a Japanese bullet train in here, and you can go in. It does pain me that we will never ever reach the level of what Japan is capable of with trains here in Britain. It's cool to see a Channel Tunnel construction train here, and I can assume from the colour scheme, just from looking at the back, that this is a Eurostar locomotive. Yeah, it absolutely was a Eurostar train, and then right beside it you have the classic Intercity 125, the HST. I think this one specifically made up one of the last services to leave London Paddington. There's so much more to this than I thought. It's just a whole nother shed right next to it, and it includes a sign for the longest station name in the country, which I've not done yet. Of course we will one day, and I'll save my pronunciation until then, because I can do it. At least I think it's fairly similar. So this is brilliant. I spotted a door tucked right at the very edge that said it was leading up to a viewing platform. And oh my god, yes, you can actually look at the trains arriving or departing from York Station. Okay, I know, this video was meant to be about medieval York, but I had to visit the National Railway Museum for the first time. How could I not? And I would imagine if most of you have stuck with me through the stations and all that so far, you're probably quite interested in this. But nonetheless, I will push on now and start exploring York. And And how's this for a way to start my explore of medieval York, the ruins of St Mary's Abbey, which is another victim of King Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries, similar to Kirkstall Abbey yesterday. There's perhaps not as much as there was at Kirkstall Abbey remaining, but still, this is a very impressive little section of it. So the Romans founded York in 71 AD. They founded London 28 years earlier, and they called it Eboracum, I think. But the name today actually derives from the Vikings, because they called it Jorvik. What you would usually find with Roman cities is that they tried very well to protect it and defend it. And specifically here in York, you will find the best kept examples of old Roman walls. And brilliantly, a lot of it you can actually walk along. Albeit it's a very narrow footpath, but it offers fantastic views of the Minster, for example, behind me, which we'll get to see in greater detail later on. Well, I've reached one edge of the city. It's time to continue looping around it. So looking out over the walls, this very much looks like, to me, a former moat. They would have done anything to protect York, the Romans. Imagine this just being your home. You've got a Roman wall in your back garden. Interestingly, at the next gatehouse, you can't walk through it. I had to go down a very narrow single file set of stairs and then climb them up on the other side of the road. But there's one extra little section of Roman wall here that you can walk, and then the next segments are missing nowadays. There's a southern portion I think you can walk as well, but because I've done this bit, I'm kind of happy to miss it out, purely so that I can now head more into the city and to see some of the other sights of York. I could see why the Romans set up base here, because you already have quite the natural defence barrier, because you have the River Foss, but also the River Ouse flowing through York as well. The Foss has a look of a very industrial river in the past. I love this tower here that's between two confluences of the watercourses. I've used a passageway to pass by the Merchants' Hall here, fantastic timber framed building, and luckily I've just managed to come and see it before they close up the gates for the night. So one of the tourist sites of York is Clifford Tower, the only real remnant of York's castle, which was first built by William the Conqueror. There's a castle museum over there and various really nice old buildings, and it's so impressive to see it kind of stood by itself on top of this mound. There's so many stairs up though. I'd be too tired to do it at this point. It's a bit of a shame that I've had to walk over the car park to get here though. That kind of spoils it a little. See, this view here with nobody in shot almost makes it look like this is a very rural setting. And then you just pan this way and it's just, yep, it's all hustle and bustle. So I have been to the London dungeons in the past. I've seen Edinburgh's, and now I can add York to the list as well. Where else has one? I thought there might be one more place. I just thought, wow, what an amazing building the York Gin is here. And I spotted right next door a brilliant little pub called the Golden Fleece, which is claiming to be England's most haunted inn. Unless that's like a band name for the live music playing at 9 PM. Ah, it's even featured on Most Haunted. And there are apparently 5 ghosts that live here at the Golden Fleece. Okay, so I'm really starting to head in towards the city centre of York properly now, starting with what is quite possibly my new favourite road name, Whip-ma-Whop-ma-Gate. I actually almost forgot to include this, which would have been a crime, because it's the shortest street in York, which fits the bill when you consider that it literally runs from here to here, and apparently it translates to Water Street, but I've also heard that it could mean neither one thing or the other. Either way, it seems like everybody wants to get a photo of it, including the street which runs right next door. So the Shambles is quite possibly the most famous street in York, and I expect this to be very, very busy with a lot of people taking photos because it's regarded as the best example of a medieval street in the city. It is said that the Shambles inspired Diagon Alley in Harry Potter, so of course there's a Harry Potter gift shop here nowadays, and I like when Americans find something historical in England and they say, oh, it's like Harry Potter. No, it's just England. I would love to know at this point, if you were to stretch your arm out of the window, would you be able to touch the person in the opposite house? So yes, I teased you with it earlier, but I'm finally visiting York Minster. It's a shame this bit is in scaffolding, but over here it isn't. It is a mighty fine building though, and I've been treated to its church bells just constantly playing. Apparently it took over 200 years to build York Minster, from 1230 to 1472. Although apparently a church has existed on this site since about 672 AD. Such a monumental achievement to build this all the way back then. It's just a shame that the people who started it, the people who took over, and maybe even the people who took over from them, never got to see it completed. Hi Paddington, how you doing, mate? I don't know why you're here, but it's good to see you. So I had no idea about this, and that's the brilliance of just wandering around historic cities like York. You come across something like the Guy Fawkes Inn, because he was actually born right here in 1570. Obviously known for being the conspirator behind the gunpowder plot and all that. Guy Fawkes Night, of course. This quote intrigues me. It was here I was born. It is here where they serve the best pie in the city of York. That must mean that this was an inn when he was born. He was born in an inn rather than just a random house here. So of course they must have just renamed it after him at a later date to put in more people, I guess. But then York's oldest licensed inn, the Ye Olde Star Inn, was established after Guy Fawkes' birth, 1644. So now I'd like to know what the Guy Fawkes Inn actually was when he was born there. Got another beautiful old pub here in the form of the Punch Bowl. This is also claiming to be haunted. I have actually seen a lot of advertisements walking around for ghost tours of York. So it seems like this is a running theme. A Lord Mayor of a city just lives in a building called the Mansion House. It happens in London, and it happens here in York as well. This is it, and it is a handsome old property. Newer than some of the other Tudor framed buildings you see around. Wow, it still has some age to it though. 1700s, the first purpose-built mayoral residence in the country. This would have been cool to have passed earlier so I could remember to look out for them. Hidden around York on a selection of buildings you can find a sculpture of a cat. I've not been looking out for them. I just realised that cat is wearing Crocs. That's the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. I'm so glad I've spotted this little map by the store's entrance, because there is a few right here. I just had a look. I've managed to spot one. Hang on, I've lost it now. Oh, there, on that windowsill. If I lived in York and was very familiar with everything that it had to offer, the cat trail would be a very good way to kind of re-explore the city, so to speak. I did actually just manage to find two more attached to the building now that I've come down to the River Ouse, and I am not familiar with York at all. There was more which I did think about doing today, which included walking more of the River Ouse towards Rowntree's Park. Rowntree's themselves would have had a factory here in York. You'll find a lot of kind of references to it and its chocolatey past. I was then going to loop back around via the racecourse. I always kind of try to make sure to visit a racecourse if a place has one. But it was too long of a walk today, unfortunately. I've kind of ran out of time. And it was very hot. It was a very, very warm day. I actually just so happened to stumble across part of their old cocoa works here. I really like the idea, though, of coming back to York one day. And I guess I'll have to in the general area if I want to tick off Church Fenton and Ulesgelf stations. And maybe that day we can go visit Roundtrees Park and the racecourse. And maybe even do part of the southern city walls, which we didn't today. That's a good idea. So the original York station, believe it or not, was inside the city walls. Or rather the second one was, as it replaced a temporary one that was built in 1839. That's kind of why York is curved nowadays the way that it is, because it then became a through route rather than a terminating station. And this building here opened in 1853 as the world's first railway hotel, as it would have been attached to the station. Doesn't look like it's a hotel nowadays, but there is one opposite called the Grand. So there we go, I am back at York Station after a fantastic day exploring the medieval city. I feel like I've completed the big three now: London, Bath and York. We'll do New York one day. I'm not claiming that's a medieval city though. But for now I'm going to get the train back to Leeds, and then tomorrow I'm passing through here again as I head for the Yorkshire coast. So stay tuned for that and I'll see you then.
The next station will be Garden.
It's interesting to see that the Harrogate trains don't show the destination as Leeds. They show it as the penultimate station so that you don't get it the long way round. I'm not getting that train back to Leeds.